All right, so we've kind of got our, start to how we're going to build out these bits and pieces of the project. And in the end, you're going to end up with a project that looks probably more like this one, where I have all of these items and objects kind of grouped together in these different, like layers, right? And that's the main thing is we want to kind of lay out what do we want our project to kind of look like. You want to think about its compositional shape and space in your Photoshop file and just kind of like build the various components that you're going to use throughout the piece. So I've done a combination of, starting with like photographic information, like, like this here. So you could, if you wanted to, you could just cut out these things and just use photographic information instead of illustrating it. It's up to you. That's just how I decided to do mine. I just kind of used the photos as guides and built the layers, and then I just turn the photo itself off when I import that into After Effects. But again, up to you. You can be photographic. It can be anything you want it to be. So we're going to have like a whole bunch of different layers. And so the best way to do that is like if this was my hand, right, and I knew that I had done what I wanted to with it, what I would do is I would just grab these, and if you just select this layer here and then shift click and select all the layers above it, and you click this little icon down here that looks like a folder, you just click create new group. It's now going to take everything that was all separate layers and it's just going to group it. And again, just because you want to be specific, I would rename this as hand. And now if I twirl down on it, now I have all of my different chunks, like the bits and pieces of the hand in there, but it's all basically like in one folder. So it's really easy to organize if you just twirl it up. Okay, now I've got my hand, and I can reposition this if I just go up here and go to edit transform. I can grab this and I can move it, and you'll see it moves the whole everything in the folder all as one bundle, which is kind of what you want. You want to kind of keep it all together. So I could resize this stuff if I wanted to now, make it bigger, smaller, rotate it, but I'd probably do all of that in After Effects actually. So you just hit enter to apply the transformation. So what you want to do is just go in here and build out all the folders of all the different things that you are going to try and make, right? So for mine, I've got, I've got all the different hands that I'm going to use. So, I've got the wiping hand, I've got the etching hand, right? So, and it doesn't really matter kind of where they are in the file, in the Photoshop file, because I can play around with that once I get it into After Effects. I've got this plate thing here, and I'm going to use that in a couple different places in the After Effects file. I've got this acid tank. So, and if I look in there on that, there are all these different pieces, so I can turn the solids on and off if I want to. This is what the cross section of the plate looks like. And again, if I twirl down on that, you'll see there's all these different spots where I can, play around with what things look like. So, this is the basic organizational structure that you want to use. And again, you want to make sure that you have a folder where you save these things. So my suggestion would be you go to Save As, and on your thumb drive or computer hard drive or wherever you want to put this, you want to go ahead and just make a new folder that's like Unit 3, right? Create it. Go ahead and place your image in there, the file in there, so that you know that it's in there, right? Click OK. And so now when I go into my desktop and I find this Unit 3, I have the etching explainer in there. And now I have that there. And the other thing that you could probably do is just add new folders in here for other things. So go in here and go to like, assets, right? So put all of your photos if you're going to use those. If you have anything like type, so if you can use typography, certain typefaces, you can put those in this folder. If you want to like make a folder that says like, drafts, sometimes I do that. Like sometimes I'll make another folder that's like renders. So, because when you render stuff, you'll kind of know what that is. So if you can move them around, right? So now everything in Unit 3 is all in a bundle. And when I go to work on it in After Effects, now I can just know that I can locate all of this stuff in the Unit 3 folder, and I'm able to work on it without losing anything or getting any like links broken, right? And so again, if you're going to place things in your Photoshop file, what you would want to do is you would want to take like, this, let's say I wanted to place this image into there. I would want to go ahead and just, again, I would probably just want to go ahead and like maybe duplicate that just to make sure. And then I would just drag that into my Unit 3 folder. And then I would put that into my assets folder, right? So now when I go into my Photoshop file, if I go File, Place, I can place embedded or place linked, but I'd probably place embedded just so I don't lose anything. I can go into Assets, I can grab that and place it. Now that's going to place it in there. I can arrange it however I want to and click the enter button. And now I can go in there and work on it, and I can like delete areas, mask it, however I kind of want to do it, and have it interact with everything else that's in there. So just organizing is super duper important. I'm going to show you one last little bit in After Effects as our other tutorial, and then it's just off to the races with making things kind of the way you want to make them. So yeah, this is the beginnings of the project. Make sure you sort of follow the directions. Make sure it's at 300 pixels per inch. Make sure that you have it sized correctly for the kind of way you want your video to play.